Yes, we are live again on the clinic with Oluwatosin Oladimeji Ladipo. And I want to believe that all our viewers are fine, they are well, and they have not stopped keeping safe. Like I said, that is the clinic with Oluwatosin Oladimeji Ladipo. And I want to use this opportunity to welcome all our viewers. I'm sure they'll be coming in any moment from now. And I want to believe that you are all well, like I said earlier on, because recently a lot of people have been calling me, Tosin, things are hard, things are actually difficult. Because I actually gave a call to someone and she was like, Tosin, thank you for putting a call through to me, that I needed someone to talk to, that things are actually difficult. And I was like, what can we actually do to help people out? Because the people are going through a lot, people are passing through so many things that they need people to talk to. Some people need people to talk to, probably some people is financial, empowerment, so many things, different areas of life that people are going through. And that is the reason why I've made up my mind that this evening, that is what we're going to discuss on the clinic with Oluwatosin Oladimeji Ladipo. And our topic is getting through hard times. That's the topic you'll be treating this evening. Getting through hard times. How can we actually raise our head above waters when things are difficult? That is what we'll be discussing. And I guess this evening, like always, we've always been having fantastic guests. And tonight's guest too is not, she is not left out. He's always a very fantastic person. And his name is Mr. Yinka Aino. He's a product manager all the way from London, United Kingdom. So, Mr. Yinka, you're welcome. You're welcome this evening. How are you?
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I'm very
Mm,
well. Thank you. Can
okay,
you
nice, Abby.
can you hear
You
me
said
okay?
what? Very well.
Cool, cool. Okay. Thank you.
Very, very well. We can hear you. Would you like to tell our viewers more about you, who Mr. Yinka Aino is? Because they really want to know who he is.
Right, okay. So that's my name. You can, as you might
Okay.
check, I'm a Nigerian and I'm from Ekiti State in Nigeria.
Okay.
Um, Up until 2004, I was in the banking sector in Nigeria. I've worked in Global Bank, then Intercontinental Bank before I left to study for 1 year. But I'm still here. Uh, there's a noise. Okay. So, so I've studied in UK. I've done masters degrees, and I've since been within the financial services sector. I've worked with a few banks, some of which are household names. Um, what else? So I've worked in different capacities as well, but my focus has always been around digital transformation in banking sector. Um, Digital agile transformation. I currently work for a company called Domestic and General. That is an insurance company. I've been with them for about 2 years. Um, I do anything from product strategy to design to implementation. I'm married to two lovely girls, based outside of somewhere in Kent, a place called not too far from Dartford. Um, what else? I attend Redeemed Church of God. I'm a worker, and then I like football. I'm a supporter of Arsenal. I don't know if they are losing or winning now because we're playing. Um, so that's me. In terms of vision, what I like, what excites me is you know, empowering others, capacity building. Um, I'm very much into youth organizations and associations. Um, yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yinka. He said one thing. I want to pick something out of everything he said, that he likes to inspire people. That is one of the reasons why I've decided to bring him on board this evening, because we're talking about how to get through hard times, getting through hard times, how to raise our head above water. That is what we'll be discussing this evening. And one of the things he loves to do is how to inspire people. And that is the reason why we brought him on board. We have somebody is actually hailing you. Mr. Leye Jodipe said, hello. Okay. Nice having you around, Mr. Leye Jodipe. And Bukola Babalola, nice having you around. Thank you so much. We
I hail,
appreciate.
I hail back, Bro Laye. As you know the layer we're talking about here.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, Sister Tosin, do you know Bro Laye John Dikwe?
Eh, yeah, he's the one hailing you.
All right, okay. I hail back.
He's the one hailing you. All right, thank you so much. Now let's go into our program properly this evening. Now, our first question to Mr. Nii is, because we said what we are discussing this evening is how to get through hard times, and he's been able to introduce himself to us. Now, we want to ask him, is hard time actually relative? Hard times, are they actually relative?
I would say so. Um,
Okay.
just as riches or poverty is relative, at times
Mm,
you hear things even in UK and the West. You hear
mm,
politicians say things like the poor. You know, you have
mm,
poor people in England.
that's true.
Yeah, you do have poor people. You do hear things like internet poverty. Okay, so when you say the poor, they're not necessarily making reference to people who cannot feed. There might be people who can afford some convenience. There might be people who are not as educated. So it's not like they are people on the streets or they can't put
Mm,
food on the table. Now, if you if you flex that, if you just oppose that with the poverty narrative in our own context back home, when you say somebody is poor, they are really poor.
mm,
You know? So
mm,
they may be living, they may be living on less than $1 a day.
mm,
You know, so as riches are relative, so is poverty, and so is tax. Um, you know, Femi Otedola is a very rich man,
mm.
but Dangote is on another level.
That's true.
Bill Gates is on another level. So
Mm,
level past level. Poverty is relative. When people are saying, "Oh, there's internet penetration poverty in the UK compared to what it is,"
mm,
it's not like you don't have, it's not like those poor people don't have internet, but they might have very slow internet. So how many people who have slow internet in our own world?
mm,
So I think the point I'm making is hardship is very relative. No, nothing prepared us for COVID-19. Nothing at all. And as we'll go into details of specifics, but we're all saying everybody had. We're all saying that, but some can still get by. Some still have their source of income. Some have lost jobs, have lost houses, have lost families, have lost people, have lost every means of earnings and income and livelihood to the point that
mm,
they can't even afford to pay rent, to pay anything, and they've had to go stay with relatives or friends. The bottom line
mm.
is actually is very relative.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Nee. Thank you so much. Somebody said, please address the underground noise. I don't know if it's from you.
It's not from
If
me.
like, can you
I'm
hear noise from me?
I'm hearing the background noise, but I don't know where it's coming from.
I don't know, but somebody said, but as I'm talking, can you hear on the ground noise?
Yeah.
You can.
Yes. Like a drill.
Ah, okay then.
Okay.
I
Let, let me
sincerely,
let me let me mute my microphone and let the audience type whether or not they can still hear the noise.
okay. All right then. My audience, please, as I'm speaking, can you hear any noise underneath? Please, just type yes or no. You can hear. Ah, okay then.
So it's
I see.
certainly not for me.
All right then. I sincerely don't know what to do to that. Anyway, let's continue. Somebody said that at times is relative to your society, ability, and ways of life, which Mr. Yinka had actually explained to us. Oh, somebody said that means the noise is from me. Really? They said yes, it's from me. They said they can hear. The noise is actually from me. I sincerely don't know what to do and how to go about it. Really. But let's continue if
Okay.
we can manage. Let's
Uh,
continue if we can manage. Mr. Yinka has been able to add to tell us that hard times are actually relative. Now, my next question to you is what circumstance or situation can you classify as hard times?
Again, very relative. Um, I remember one former prime minister, David Cameron. He said, I think he was asked to speak about the most stressful time or one of his most stressful situations he's ever been faced. And I remember he did say something along the lines of when he got lost in Harrods shopping with his parents.
Hmm.
I've never entered Harrods before because I don't know my audience if Harrods is at the top. I don't know what equivalence I can draw to maybe places like Nigeria. But Harrods is for the topmost of the topmost. I mean, imagine where the likes of Prince Charles and the Queen and the royals, where they can go shopping, you know. And that was one of his most stressful situations. Another person said one of his most stressful situations was when he had a puncture tire and he had to change the tire by himself.
Hmm.
So I guess the point I'm making is hardship might also be relative. Um,
Hmm.
you know, actually for me might be that oh, say my monthly wage bill is £2,000 plus my mortgage and everything, and so my earnings maybe is about 2,500. So after paying my bills, I'm still left with a change of 300, 400 to play with or to invest or whatever it is. So imagine if either I lose my job, I don't have a saving, or my salary gets cut into half and I'm earning 1,000 instead of 2,005, then how do I make up for the rest? So from that point of view, I could suffer real financial hardship in making ends meet. But I bet some people don't even earn that half, which is not meeting my needs. So I think it will depend on your lifestyle, it will depend on your wage bill, it will depend on your commitment. Somebody, for instance, who has a child in a private school, maybe a private university, and paying top fee, and something happens to their source of income to the point that they struggle to pay um, school fee, they can't meet those obligations. Those might be hard times. Now, if we go to the extreme side of the spectrum, some can't even afford the necessities, the basic food on the table, clothes on their backs, a roof on their heads. I think we lost the presenter. Okay, you're back. So
Yeah.
let me summarize. I think what I said was hardship could be relative. Um, if you ask the likes of Dangote, they will say things are hard for them. They will say that. If you ask most business people, they'll say, "Oh, things are really hard." But what they're saying is, given their situation, given their situation, maybe where they used to be, or what they used to earn, or the things they used to be able to do, they are not able to do it, or they'll they have to make massive, massive sacrifices to other things in order for them to be able to be where they used to be. So that's on the one spectrum. On the other spectrum is the fact that athletes would actually constitute, maybe somebody used to have 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day, reduced to one, you know, or that 1 meal is almost even completely taken away from the table. Some may have to live where they live or accommodation. Some may have to stop schooling. So I think it can we can go on and on and on and on. But the bottom line is hardship consists of situations or circumstance that adversely affect or distort your normal regular life to the point that if not addressed quickly or arrested or figured out quickly could impact on every other aspect of your life, including mental health, including, I mean, being that responsible adult, that responsible parent, that responsible father or mom. I mean, it could impact on pretty much every area of your life in a negative.
Hmm.
So
Thank you
that's
so much, Miss. Thank you so much, Mr. Yinka. So hardship at times are actually also relative. So it
it is.
depends on individual. Yes, it depends on individual. And he said something that if hardship at times are not tackled when they are supposed to be tackled, that could impact on different facets of one's life. Thank you so much, Mr. Yinka. Thank you so much. Now, our next question to you is, how can one reduce the longevity of hard times?
Okay, so on that one, uh, preparation is key. So
Hmm.
I'll split that into two. There are some things we can prepare for. There are some things that make it. It's not okay. It's okay. So there are some things we can prepare for. There are some things we cannot. So on those things you can prepare for, how prepared are you for them? I'll give a metaphor. Imagine you own a car, you drive a car, and you don't change the oil, you don't service it as regularly. It might be, back home, maybe things are changing slightly, but in the heyday, we don't care so much about insurance. Just do a third party. Servicing, regular servicing. If the car doesn't break down, we don't service it. So, and most of that stems from the fact that we probably can't afford it. There are too many pressing needs. Thinking of your car is the last thing. Once you start it and it gets you from point A to B safely, you go there. But that is a false economy because if you don't service it regularly, it's only a matter of time. By the time it will embarrass you, that embarrassment will be big because it will break down on Third Milan Bridge. You know. Now, that is on one side. The other side is when you use a car or when you are driving, what have you got on that car? Because that might determine whether or not, in event of a situation or a breakdown, it will determine how much impact that would have on you, and it will determine how quickly you can get out of that situation. I'll give you an example. A cold winter night, you're driving from London to Manchester, you're on M25, and, and you get a puncture. Okay, so Mr. A has has prepared. He has a spare tire. He has wheel spanners, and he has a bottle of water. He has warm clothing. It's a winter night. He has warm clothing, maybe a jacket and a spare one in his boot. He keeps it there. That's Mr. A. Mr. B, on the other hand, doesn't have any of those. He could care less. But he prays the Lord. He's a man of faith, and he faiths everything. Uh, and so he's in the same situation. Okay, imagine they both suffer a breakdown. You can't stay in your car forever. You need to step out for safety reasons. But if you were scantily dressed in cold winter weather, soon enough you'll be freezing. So Mr. A has extra clothing. He puts it on. Mr. A has a tire that is a spare tire that is flated, and he has wheel spanners. So worst case scenario, in 10, 20 minutes, he can get that sorted and he will be on his way. Preparation, right? Now, Mr. B doesn't have any of that. So it breaks down and he doesn't have wheel spanner to change the wheels to start with, bad enough. He doesn't have warm clothing to keep warm, bad enough. Even if he was going to call AA or rescue, it takes an average of 1 hour. So the impact of the hardship will be much severe and longer. Simply because when during the rainy days, he failed to do some preparation, to put some things in place. I've seen some Christians argue away and trivialize insurance, life, life insurance. No, no. The Lord, they'll quote scriptures for you. And they pass on, whether by sickness or whatever. They die, they pass on, and they leave the kids and the wife almost stranded. I've had to deal with two cases like that in my set where the wives had to resort to the set, for fundraising and things like that. How much can people raise for you? How much? They raise 500,000. How much will it? How much is that in the grand scheme of things? If you have kids going to uni, having to feed, you know. So preparation is key. The more prepared you are, the less on the scale of all things being equal, I'm using ceteris paribus. All things being equal, the more prepared you are, the less the impact of hardship, and the quicker you can recover and get out of that hardship if you prepare well.
Mm,
But
mm,
some would argue that what if your circumstance is not even there enough for you to prepare? Well, maybe that's a valid argument, but I'm of the view that we can always, in our own little small way, prepare ourselves. Now, some situations, nothing can prepare you for it. Look at what happened in Texas. Nobody expected that. Suddenly you wake up and your roof is falling on top of your head. The pipes are busting, no electricity, nothing whatsoever. Nothing will prepare you for that. You know, even if you had insurance, it will take months to have that claim back. But before then, you could have lost your life due to freezing weather. People lost their lives. Um, Preparation still applies. I mean, but in some circumstances, which is beyond any conceivable populations, I don't think anything will prepare you for that. I mean, COVID is a case in point, and we'll talk about the impact and the effect and
mm.
how that can be properly managed as we progress along. I don't know if there are any questions from you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Yinka. Thank you so much. Preparation is key for you to, because he said something that the impact, when you prepare well, the more you prepare, how you prepare, we determine the impact of the hardship on you, which is key. You should learn to prepare, no matter how small it is. At least put in something that you know that this is what I'm doing to prepare for hard times. Never say that hard times will not come. Hard times are part of life and you are meant to prepare for it. Thank you so much, Mr. Yinka. Now, our next question to you is, what tools or skills are required to survive hard times?
Tools to survive hard times. Now, if we take the COVID situation as a case in point, um, I, I don't know how severe it is back home. It's a bit more severe in the West. I've been working from home a year straight on. It would have been a year since I've been working from home. I've not been to the office. Um, Now, the challenge will be slightly different from somebody in other parts of the world. So my earnings has not changed, right? Which is a good thing. We had a cut. We had a salary cut a while ago, almost about 7%. But what is left of that, I can still pay my bills. Okay, so I'm not going to bed thinking of how to, bills are not keeping me awake at night. Now, that may not be somebody else's situation. Somebody else may have lost that source of income. I'll put that aside. Let me ask you, what we find, especially in the UK, what we find most challenging is the fact that you are not you can't travel. Um, God help you if you have a cantankerous spouse or contentious spouse. Um, so that quickly, and again, because of the convenience of I'm sitting here, the refrigerator and kitchen is next to me. So you quickly can, so many things can quickly go wrong. Because you are sitting there, you can't see friends, you can't see family. I mean, Christmas last year, my sister-in-law couldn't even come around. I mean, you know, uh, so that is almost presenting to us the mental health. crisis. It's unprecedented. Nobody has been here before. And I can speak from that point of view on how to cope. Now, coping with such situation is different from somebody is grinding pepper in the background. I don't know who that is. Coping with such situation is different from having to cope with financial crisis or having to cope with the loss of a family member or having to cope with somebody who is very, very sick or ill. So, how do you cope? From my point of view, if it borders on mental health, being locked up or locked down, um, you want to be proactive um, because very quickly your mental health could degenerate. So you want to be proactive and be intentional in doing some things. Um, it's been a year I've been working from home, like I said earlier. And my, if I told you that, I'll repeat. So it's been a year I've been working from home. Ordinarily, I should have doubled my size in weight, but I've lost about 6 kg, and that was intentional. Intentional from the point of view of what I eat and doing as much exercise as possible. I do like average 10 kilometers run walk every day,
Work every day.
every single day. If I don't, probably by now I will not be able to go through a door because I'll be so you are sedentary, you are sitting, you can't go out. And if that being the case, then your self confidence drops. It affects your mental health. So anything that would make you move physically, anything that will make you challenge your mental faculty, reading of books, and most critically, planning. I can show something. I have a board here, a whiteboard. I don't want to be turning my laptop. I write things because if you don't, you just discover that you wake up, you roll on your laptop, um, before you know it's done. And you roll back, you eat, you watch TV, you roll back to bed. And that's
Hmm.
daily. So you've got to, today it was a bit sunny today. And I had to tell my boss, guys, let's go out. Let's go and take vitamin D or whatever. Because they are homeschooling as well.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is stressed together. So there has to be a way to distress. So if you want to jump, jump. If you want to run, run. If you want, but just do something. That boosts a lot of enzymes in your body that can help you lower tension and pressure and stress. Stress is a very silent killer. That's why the life expectancy back home is about 50 something. We just we are just baggages of stress, stress organisms moving about, stressed humans moving about. So that's one thing. Now, if the hardship has to do with the job loss, um, the way it works might be different from this standpoint and back home. Here I think most people, I would imagine, you can take recourse to so many things. You can be fallen. If that is not available, you can. It's not advisable, but it's there. You can go take a loan or a credit card just to see you through and pay your bills. Um, You can reach out to friends and families, and that is very key as well. Reaching out to people of like mind, you know, sharing thoughts, discussing. I'm on so many groups, and I think I'm on one group. We're on the same group as well. So sharing topic ideas, talking, and seeking help. Don't be silent because at times people just keep the problems or the situation to themselves, and I don't think that helps in any way, shape, or form. So um, I don't know what more I want to add to that, but I think number one, preparation. The more prepared, the less adverse, and the quickest you can bounce back. And even when you prepare, some things are still out of what you could prepare for. And in those cases, you might just have to, is the challenge or hardship, is it financial, is it health wise, is it you suffering casualty of a family member? I think so. I think it would depend. But for me, in terms of my go-to, is one, plan. You know, I'm very religious at that. Plan, write things down, and as soon as you achieve them, you tick them off. It helps you to channel your energy and your time to something productive. Two, exercise as much as you can. I appreciate that may not be too relevant because we are locked down here, so it's all the more necessary. Three, associate with people of like minds. The problem shared, they say, is a problem solved. There's a lot of help out there, so take advantage of it. Don't keep it to yourself. Um, Although, I mean, you may have reasons to not want to go down that line. I totally get it. But hey, um, what else am I going to say? So what are the practical tips I would recommend? And of course,
Hmm.
prayer as well. Prayer is
Hmm.
prayer does move mountains.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yinka. Thank you so much. Now, my next question to you is, what should be the state of mind during hard times? What should be your state of mind?
Um, I think it could be very convenient to say your state of mind should be this or that. And the Yorubas have a proverb that goes along the lines of, permit me if you're not a Yoruba speaker, but it goes along the lines of any any teacher go back to you or now
Interpretation.
what that means is that if you've never witnessed an issue,
Okay.
you can't say for sure how things will turn out in that circumstance. And
Okay.
and again, individuals matter. Some w- we built differently, and our shock absorbers are different. Depending on background, how we brought up, and what life situations we've had to deal with. Growing up. Um, I've witnessed some situations here in the UK that my 30-something years in Nigeria I never witnessed.
Hmm.
I used to think I was a tough guy back home until immigration started dealing with me in UK. You know, we have this thing that if you can live in Lagos, you can live anywhere in the world. It's a big lie. You need to have a squabble with UK immigration. Then you will know how tough you are, or otherwise. So I think my point is um, your life situations, your circumstance, your background shape you and build you. So
Mm.
some are built strong, some appear strong, but they're not actually really strong until they face with that challenge. They break into pieces. They can't deal. Some seem very gentle and almost fragile, but if you throw a brick at them, the brick will snap and it will come after you that through the brick.
Mm.
We build differently. So is whilst you can say on the grand scheme of things, you can say, okay, we should be positive, we should keep trusting God and all that. But I don't want to sound patronizing or insulting anybody's intelligence. Um, Prayer should always be our go-to. God is always there for us in good times and bad times. Um, I'm a strong believer. You can hear the noise there. So I'm a strong believer in times and seasons. I'll explain what that means. Um, Only last week it was freezing cold. It was about -2, -3,
It
and
was -7 here.
yeah, you know, you'll be blowing all the heating. If you had to step out, you'll be wearing too many. And just about 2 or 3 days later, I could almost walk around outside topless in this same life. So I'm a strong believer in time and season. Nothing lasts forever. So, and I think nature has even spoken eloquently about that narrative. Why do we have season? We have winter. In Nigeria, they have Harmattan now.
Yeah.
So they can sleep easy. By February, March, everybody will be running for AC again. And so is life. Um, what they say is that the ship is not built for the dock; it's built for the sea. So you only appreciate a ship when it's at the sea, because it's at the sea. It is tried and tested because there will be
Mm.
raging storms and all that. And I think the benefit of what we have as Christians is the comforting hand of God's Spirit. Um, so we have that as a big thumbs up. Fear not. I think fear not is mentioned like 360, well, according to 360 something, which is one fear not for every day in the Bible. So we have that back, that God is on our side. He's promised He will never leave us or forsake us. So on the one hand, we have that. Then on the other hand, the conviction of the fact that nothing lasts forever. You just look around, look at nature. In 2 months, it's freezing cold. The next 2 months, it's mild. The next 3 months, it's piping hot. And before you know it, it's cold again. So even nature does not stand still. So when you've done all you can and things don't go your way, you can trust God and trust the process that this also will pass. And the prayer we should be praying is that God should not lead us into temptation. so that those hard times will not. Somewhere in the Bible talks about uh, that when we are tempted, He would even also make a way, so that it will not, so that temptation will not bury us. We will not lose whilst in the place of temptation. So if you prepared, you prayed, and you're still in serious hardship, because hardship does not mean God is not in it, and that is a very false doctrine which we have pushed even in Christendom. Imagine if Brother Job, that Brother Job, imagine if he was in some Redeemed church today and he's facing all he faced, 12 children died, everything. Now tell me, imagine the kind of prayers we will be praying for him. So, but that still didn't mean God was not in it, and his latter was a lot greater than his former. It was not only restored, his restoration exceeded what he had ever previously been. So I can't say what somebody's mindset would be because we don't deal with things the same way. We're not built the same way. Our life experiences are not the same. You I've been, especially from my mate, I've heard things like, "Nǹkan tí ẹ̀ ń bother ìwọ ní tiẹ̀." That's me. It's not like I'm not bothered, but I feel there's nothing that will come from heaven that the ground cannot take, you know. And whatever happened has happened before. If people pulled through, then why should it be any different now? If we pull through. So those are the things, those are my go-to convictions and my guiding principles. I remember when, I mentioned immigration. For about 6 months, once upon a time, I was in a battle with the Home Office. I wasn't given a work permit. I couldn't work. I could not earn a penny. My bills was piling like this, And those days, looking back, I can't even recall what I used to think. But I just knew that God is still good. Yeah? God can never be wrong. God is bigger than this. In fact, what I used to think about the most then was if anything went wrong, it would have been me. That God should just have mercy and sort me out. So those are my convictions. Those are my go to tools or convictions. Let me use that word. And I believe that would apply across board, even though our individuality, our life experiences, our character would also come. I don't know if that answers the question.
Thank you so much, Mr. Inka. In all of it all is we should understand that there is time and season for everything, which is said. There are times and season for everything. So it will not last forever. Just hold on and be positive. Thank you so much, Mr. Yinka. Now, lastly, my last question before we call it a day on this evening's program is what advice can you give to us generally? For because some people are stronger than some. So, what advice? Well, to me, I will say sorry so that we understand where I'm coming from. To me, I will say that a lot of us, different people are going through different things at a different point in time. So if you feel that you've gone through yours, or probably you have strength, you can still encourage others. Like I said, I put a call through to someone recently. My mind just went to that person. I called, and the next thing the person told me was, "Toasting, thank you for calling me. I'm a bit down. I just needed someone to encourage me." So for people who can encourage, check on people, see how they are faring. Some people maybe it's just to encourage them. Some people maybe it's just a word to lift them up. So whatever you think you can do, and I believe everywhere will be a better place for all of us to live in. Now, Mr. Yinka, back to you before we call it a day. We have just few more minutes to go, like 5 minutes to go.
Okay. I think if I said you've said everything, I think that wouldn't be an overstatement. Um, yeah, we build differently. We have different life experiences. Um, I think more than ever, we should be our brother's keeper or brothers and sisters keepers. Um, when you can, check on the next person. Um, a text, a call can go a very long. Um, I mean, we're living through something I've experienced. So, by all means, reach out to people and, like I said, a text. How are you doing? I hope all is well. By all means, do. And I should also appeal to us and as individuals that you won't be doing yourself any good if you can reach out as well, due to what, for whatever reasons, stigma, shame, embarrassment, and all that. I mean, some would rather die, struggling, than saying, "Hey, brother, I need help." Um, that is some people's lives, and I couldn't stress it enough. That isn't just the right way or the right attitude to go to. I mean, to to have. You would. There's nothing wrong in you reaching out if you need help. Just there must be at least one person or two persons you can trust to share your situation with. As they say, mention is a problem half solved, if not fully solved. And we are supposed to be social creatures. That's the way God made it. We're not meant to be islands or isolate ourselves. So by all means, reach out. And for those who are strong enough to reach out, I pray for more strength and more wisdom to do more of that. They can't stress enough the fact this is a time to really, really yield. I pray the Lord will continue to keep us and enable us. That will be my submission.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Mr. Yinka, and thank you so much, all our viewers. Then rounding up, like I said, we are rounding up now and we want to call it a date. In summary, we've learned that our times are actually relative and is relative to each individual. What we need to do, we just need to be positive. You should not be you should not be down. Don't put yourself down. Hard times are meant to make us strong, stronger than what we can ever even imagine. So that because by the time you give up during hard times, what will be your testimony at the end of the day? So learn to raise your head up, learn to be positive, and learn to know that hard times are not forever. It's just for a season, and the time will soon pass off. So this is where we'll be calling it a date. And I hope to see you again next week. And I sincerely want to say a big thank you to Mr. Yinka. Thank you for the honor. We really appreciate. We just jumped on him like that, and he was still able to honor us. Thank you so
Feel free
much.
to jump on me anytime.
thank, thank you so much. Like I said, this is where I'll be calling it a date. Until we meet again next time, I remain my humble servant and your loyal friend, Oluwatosin Oladimeji Ladipo. Thank you and bye for now. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
You said what?
It was a pleasure. Thoroughly enjoyed
All
it.
right. All right. Thank